If you're looking to improve your experience with relationships, whether they're personal, business, romantic, or even with yourself, I'm going to teach you about 3 styles that are essential to understand in order to guide you through any of these possibilities. Hey, welcome back. My name is Blake, and I guide those on a spiritual journey to answer the questions they didn't even know they had. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite books, Attached. I feel every human should have to read this book, and if you are more curious, please check out the description below. Attached brings up the topic of attachment theory. Attachment theory, more or less, focuses on the relationships or bonds between people. When we talk about the relationship between the child and the parents or caregiver, we talk about the bond that they develop throughout their early years of coming into adulthood. When we talk about the relationships that we develop into adulthood, we tend to focus more on, we focus on a variety of relationships, whether they be romantic, professional, or business, or even relationships with the self. But these relationships and the way that we navigate them in a romantic setting are reflected on the example that we received from our parents and caregivers when we were young. As we've grown up, we developed these attachment styles based on the example that was provided to us when we were younger. These attachment styles are what we use to navigate our relationships. Half of the people in the world are of a secure attachment style, but the other 50% fall into insecure attachment styles, which more or less can be anxious or avoidant. 25% of us are avoidant attachment style, while 19% are anxious avoidant style. There's a small percentage of us left over that are fearful avoidant attachment style. But this is really more of a combination of 2 extremes and not something I'm going to get into too much detail in this video. What's interesting about these 2 insecure attachment styles is even though they contradict each other, they definitely attract into each other and they'll repel a secure attachment style. This is Bob, emblematic of an avoidant attachment style. When emotion intensifies and closeness beckons, Bob emotionally withdraws. Intimate acts, even cuddling, can feel threatening, leading to a preference for detached physical interactions. Sometimes even seeking sexual closeness with strangers rather than loved ones. This emotional distancing, a safeguard, often subtly undermines long-term intimacy. This is Taylor's world, where the tumultuous ocean of anxious attachment ebbs and flows. Taylor's heart harbors a profound desire for intimacy, almost insatiable, yet it's persistently shadowed by a spectral fear of abandonment, causing a constant, eternal strife. Navigating through relationships, Taylor's sails are often set by a breeze of perpetual need for reassurance and a consistent emotional anchorage. Engaging with partners, especially those exhibiting avoidant tendencies, the waters become especially choppy. The absence of perpetual assurance acts like a squall, driving Taylor to paradoxically push their partner away, in a vain effort to protect themselves from the anticipated storm of abandonment. This defensive maneuver, however poignant, often guides the relationship into the desolate islands of isolation that Taylor so deeply fears, becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy penned by the quill of their own anxieties and fears. How can you change your attachment style? Well, this is going to happen kind of automatically to some extent. Your attachment style has a lot of plasticity to it. So you're going to be shifting in and out of this different style periodically anyway, whether or not you're even aware of it. Sometimes people will become more aggressive versions of that style as they find that that style doesn't give them the right results in communicating with other people. Over time, people may be able to actually become more aware of the attachment style that they have and find ways to weaken that insecure attachment style. This is kind of on the way to maybe shifting into a secure style. They find that they're no longer as avoidant or as anxious as they used to be, but maybe they still have some residuals of that style. Also, there may be this extreme counter correction where an anxious becomes very avoidant and or avoidant becomes very anxious in the process of trying to address a lot of these issues. Ultimately, the ones that are the most successful with taking this insecure style into a secure state are going to be working and developing their self-awareness and self-regulation. You can see this in the emotional intelligence matrix in the self category. When this is strengthened, you'll find that this awareness allows you to have a better understanding of how you're communicating based on the way you were taught by your caregivers. And as you notice that, you can make an active change, which then leads to more awareness, thus leading to more understanding. It's this cycle that you go through that is constantly putting you and shifting you between varying attachment styles as you improve or reset and maybe shift back and forth between secure and insecure. And also, as you maybe are having relationships along the way, you're constantly mirroring those things back and forth as things don't work, as you find people that are more incompatible for you, or as you find people that are compatible for you. This process, this cycle that you go through is really best explored while you're by yourself. If you're in a relationship and you really want to develop this, it can be a little complicated. For instance, if you don't have a partner that's also growing at the same rate, you're going to find that you may shift out within the attachment style that you related to them with in the first place, thus kind of becoming almost like a different person. If somebody is also working on themselves and then they're also identifying the way that they want to, you may both enter into a secure attachment style, but then find that you're not really complementing or liking the relationship for the same reasons you originally did when you had insecure attachment styles that were complementing each other to bring the attraction in the first place. Basically, for this to kind of work where both parties in a relationship are healing each other, the simple way to summarize this is that the anxious has to give less fucks and your avoidant has to give more fucks. Why does any of this matter in the first place? Well, for one, you want to have better impact on relationships. You desire having a more secure attachment style. You want to find somebody who's attracted to you because they want to have an independent love connection. They want to actually be independently invested in your relationship, opposed to having some sort of codependency or dependency on what you bring and what kind of childhood trauma and childhood impression of love you're trying to kind of replicate for them. Personal development is also another major reason of why you'd want to know this. Perhaps you're not in a relationship right now, or you've been curious about why these other relationships failed because there were so many things that you just didn't understand. As you kind of look at attachment theory and understand more attachment styles, you can begin to kind of see what archetype you've been kind of following and maybe understand why you've been following those kind of behaviors in the first place. And then realizing that maybe some of the people that you had attracted into your life were mimicking this opposing attachment style and had their own childhood issues or experiences that led to the way that they were navigating a romantic relationship. So you can actually spend more time looking at these things and understanding them more so that you can work on your own emotional intelligence to be more responsive to these things. Those kind of moments and time to spend on yourself is really invaluable for your own personal development and personal growth. I like the saying on this, which is you're no longer trying to find Mr. or Mrs. Right. You're focused on being Mr. or Mrs. Right. The third reason why you would want to know more about this is that you're invested in having more secure relationships in the future. You want to better yourself. You want to train yourself to understand and recognize. You want to do this deeper childhood trauma healing in yourself, and be able to kind of remove a lot of these old ideas that you automatically, instinctively work on and you react on. So that way, whenever you're in these relationships, you're no longer unattracting people with secure attachment styles and attracting insecure. It's the opposite. You attract the secure, and you're not able to attract these insecures. You're not able to really bring those types of people into your life anymore, and you'll notice you have a lot more options of healthy relationships. So this work can be time consuming and it can be taxing, but it can be really worth it too. I hope this was a good introduction into attachment theory and attachment styles. I hope you really gained a lot from it. You should definitely pick up the book Attached. Again, it's in the description below if you want to help support the site. I really appreciate you guys for watching all the way through. If you could like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, it really helps me out to get this information to you. I want to bring up this topic a little bit more in the future. So with that said, thanks again for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video.